Okay, here we go.
Oh, actually, wait. Before we start, I want to
Okay.
ask you too, because I was thinking
Yeah.
about this the other day.
Yeah.
So what do you imagine when you think of like an opening intro song?
That's a
Like what comes
really
to your
good
mind?
question.
Like what type of, because I was trying to put something together and I'm like, I don't even know. I was like, I want to make sure that it's not, I don't want to make something and then you're stuck with it because you feel like you should
Right.
do it because I did
Yeah.
it. I want to see like where, like,
Do you have
take the time and give me
Okay.
like a playlist, give me like a Spotify playlist of like 5 short examples of things that you like.
Okay. Okay. I'll do that. Yeah,
You know
because
what I
that's a
mean?
really good question. Yeah, I have that's a great question because I'm like, I have no idea what that would even be. Like what it
Right.
would be.
Because a lot of
Yeah.
times like I listen to other podcasts and I'm like some of the music is really cheesy and I don't want it to be that, but it's got to serve a purpose too.
Right. Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Yeah. I know. I initially when Jeff and I were doing Pop Theory, I was like, what if I did a beatbox as like our as
oh,
like our not that I can like beatbox well, but like I was like just like a I was like what if I just did like a like my impression of InSync's Pop, like the outro of that,
right,
and
right,
you and like did that, and he was like no, and I was like okay.
right.
So that's like the only that's like the furthest I ever got with like what could a theme song be. I also feel, you know what, actually a really good example would be is, speaking of beatboxing, it's kind of beatboxing but not, you know, the How I Roll by Britney Spears, that
Oh yeah.
ooh,
Yeah.
and there it is, we've got it recorded.
I know, and
we're
welcome
we're
back to
good.
Homophonic.
Welcome back. Welcome back to Homophonic, everybody. And then just that whole laugh the entire time too.
Right.
Just like
It's just me. I'm just going to take this audio and sample it.
perfect. I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So maybe something like that, but like honestly, I that's a great question. Let me marinate on that a little bit,
Okay.
and I can get back to you. I might even keep that in the episode because that was really funny. Welcome back to Homophonic, everybody. It is your host, Zach Rickle. We're joined once again by John Michael, DJ extraordinaire of Peloton and then some.
Hello, hello.
Hello. He's got
Hello,
his
hello.
he's got his beautiful, or I almost said orange. Why did I even say orange? It is not orange at all. It's a green sweater.
My podcast sweater.
His podcast sweater, and nice little
My
cable
podcast
knit.
sweater. Right,
Yeah.
right.
I've got a nice little like crop. This is actually a crop top, but this is a crop top sweater with what is it? Shoulder pads.
Yeah.
And we said sweaters.
She said it's February in Michigan. Why not a crop top?
Why not a crop top with no sleeves?
Right. Have you considered sleeveless?
Have you considered sleeveless? And let me tell you, I always consider sleeveless. I run so hot though,
Yeah.
that
yeah.
like that's why I love cold weather so much. People are like, why do you love cold weather? I run so hot all the time.
I don't mind heat if it's dry. And that's why I love
Same.
the desert. Because like I
Yeah.
can go out and do the desert in dry heat and be totally fine. But as
Yeah.
soon as you introduce even just like a drop of humidity, I'm out.
I'm
That's when
out. I'm
people are just like,
drowning.
right. They're like, it's June. Let's go to Miami. I'm like, you are out of your mind.
Out of your mind. I see men when I'm like driving to work all the time in the summertime, men in or driving home from work, I should say, like walking around downtown in like business suits.
Yeah.
I don't understand how they are not just completely wet and
Right.
just like because I would look absolutely filthy. And these are like light gray suits. I'm not talking about like a black suit, right? That you can't see sweatsuits. These are like light gray, light blue suits. And I'm just like, you guys are just walking around like no big deal.
And they all do it, and I see it all the time, all throughout where I work in Midtown Manhattan. It's just nothing but like finance bros and like puffer vests and like the whole, and I'm like, and suits, and I'm like, I don't get it.
Does it get really humid in New York?
It does in the summertime. Not right now. I mean, it's freezing, but it's really crazy here, and that's why when people come in the summertime, I'm like, what are you thinking of coming here in the summertime?
Yeah, it
It's
gets really humid
so
here in Michigan. Yeah,
yeah, I don't know.
it's
It seems very
crazy.
unenjoyable to me, especially for a place that's so expensive. I'm like, you really want to enjoy that.
Right.
You
Yeah.
know, so
Exactly. Yeah. There was like a 4th of July a few years back when my friend Landon lived here in Grand Rapids. He and his partner Bobby would always have like garden parties for like 4th of July or whatever, or like they would just have people over.
Right.
And I remember one year I was like, I love you guys. I can't do the outside today. I was
Right.
like, it is just too humid. Absolutely not. I was like, if we want to go inside and enjoy that air conditioning, let's do it. I said,
Right.
let's get crispy cold. Like, let's go. But yeah, it gets pretty wild. So
Yeah, no.
yeah,
And I sweat too much. And you would
yeah.
think that I would like the cold weather because of that, but I feel like what the winter is to me now is I arrive everywhere drying off because I'm like 3 layers in, I'm sweating underneath, and now it's like everything that I'm 3 layers, everything is soaking wet. I'm like, I'm just
And that's my problem too. Yeah,
right.
I on my lunch break today, I went on a walk just outside, and that's exactly how it was. I was like, I had a hoodie and a puffer jacket on. By the time I was back, I was super sweaty underneath. I was like, I can't win. I can't
No,
win right now.
no.
Mm-mm.
And then there's the days where I'm like, you know what? It actually doesn't seem like it's that bad outside. I'm just going to wear a little bit less. Maybe I'm not going to bring the hoodie and I'm just going to wear like a normal jacket. And then as soon as I'm like on my way to the train, I'm like, this is a mistake. This is a mistake. I'm going to be absolutely freezing on the way home tonight. I was like, and there's nothing
Right.
I can do about it. Got to keep going.
Yep.
Is what it
Yep.
is.
I know.
That's it. Miss
Typically
unprepared.
when I go to work, I bring so I usually, because I work at a health and wellness facility, we'll just say that.
Mm-hmm.
And for those of listening, and I usually, like when I go to work, usually it's like really early in the morning because I work out before work. So I am like bring my long ass puffer coat that's like down to my
Right.
ankles, and I'm in my snow boots. And then I bring my workout clothes. I have my work clothes with me, and then I have a second pair of workout clothes because I like to, on my lunch breaks, I like to do just like a quick, nothing crazy, but just like usually I'll do like maybe a little bit of cardio. I usually do a Peloton core class, something like that, just to kind of break my day up, just to kind of
Right.
get me moving a little bit. But it's so much that I
Right.
bring with me. And I'm just kind of like, and sometimes I bring like 2 coats because I'm like, I don't know if it's going to be warmer or cooler today. Maybe I don't need this gigantic puffer jacket. I don't know.
Right. Well, now I have this thing because I've been trying to find like I've been having this obsession lately with doing like a hot tub and a cold plunge and then a hot tub and a cold plunge and kind of
Ooh.
like the back and forth of that. I really like I've got this weird thing happening in my neck and it makes it feel better.
Oh,
Anyway,
good. Yeah.
so I found a spot that I've been going to not too far away, but like I'm so like bundled up that like the lockers are so small that I'm like stuffing things in there trying to get please. It's just I'm just a mess all winter. All winter she's
Crazy.
a mess. A
Crazy.
mess.
I feel that. I feel that.
Yeah. Anyway,
Speaking of mess, no. So, okay, just starting off Kendrick Lamar's halftime show like that, people would go nuts. Oh my
oh
god.
God, you can, and it's so crazy too because like it's the discourse. I feel like this is the problem with social media now is that the discourse about any performance is. I feel like I already knew what people were going to say before it even happened.
Absolutely. As soon as I saw Samuel L. Jackson, which cool cameo,
Right,
very
and
cool
also
cameo.
like Uncle Sam, like get it, like
Yeah, exactly. Like
right. Come on, guys.
I was like brilliant, and I was like, as soon as I saw him, I was like, oh, conservatives are gonna lose their fucking
Right,
minds.
right, right, right.
Like, oh my gosh, my Uncle Sam ain't black. Like,
Right, but it's all the outrage is just so predictable.
it is. It is. At
Right,
this point, and this is what's funny. Like, I don't know if you feel this way. I almost feel like I don't know what I need to excite me during a performance now, but there's a lot. I like kind of, I can predict what is already gonna kind of happen as far as like who's gonna get outraged. And I'm like, I was like, this outrages people. I'm like, why doesn't it outrage me? I was like, why? I want to
right,
feel something. I want to
right,
feel something. I just want to
right.
feel something.
Well, because and I saw somebody post something once and it said something like all art is political, you're just bad at media analysis. And
Yeah.
that's what this is. That's what I feel
Yeah.
like this is where we're at now where it's like I don't know what to tell you. Like people are going to have things to say. It's like it's I
Yeah.
don't know. I don't know. It's just it's so predictable and it really is like the outrage is so performative and
Yeah.
it's and
I
for
do have a
what?
yeah, I do have a critique. We can get into that in a minute. But it's not about Kendrick Lamar per se,
Right.
but I have a critique, which
I don't
I'm sure people might already guess what I have to say. But
right.
yeah.
I don't have like I think that when I think of like I didn't judge this Super Bowl performance based on other ones past. Like, I'm not expecting the same thing from Kendrick Lamar like I was expecting from Madonna.
Right.
Like these are going to be very, very
He comes in with 300 gladiators.
it's just Kendrick Lamar being brought in by a bunch of shirtless men.
Oh my God, I would have died. That would have been so good.
Surprise of the night, Kendrick just vogues the house down.
Oh my God.
I would
Low
be
key
so
wish
here
that
for
happened.
this.
That
Like,
would be wild.
when he came out with his bell bottoms on, I was like, okay, miss, you better work. I was
Bell
like, I see you with your bell
bottoms.
bottoms. Okay,
Come
now.
on.
I was like, that's definitely going to be a spike in the trend. But
Oh, for sure. Yeah,
but
I've been seeing a lot of positive reactions regarding that.
yeah,
The
no,
bell bottoms.
absolutely. But
Yeah.
just in general, like I think that he did exactly what I thought he was going to do.
Mm-hmm.
Like I don't know what else people thought. Like if they thought they were going to get like the showiness of like a Rihanna, but like,
Well, interesting that you say that. I felt like when I saw this performance, obviously they were different, but I did feel like there were several similarities to her performance, and I don't know
mm,
if it's just like the minimalist staging of it all is what maybe kind of reminded me of it. Obviously, she had the
hmm
floating platforms and whatnot, but and I think that Paris once again choreographer of our dreams, like
right, right,
I'm sure that she choreographed at least part of this. But there, and then just the way that like the dancers, I loved the way that the dancers were dressed in like the red, white, and blue,
so
and
good.
created the flag. But
All the
the
formations.
yes, the outfits that they were wearing kind of reminded me of like the all white uh outfits that the dancers were wearing for Rihanna. So I'm not saying that they were identical by any means, but they were just certain parts of it that I was like, oh, this reminds me of this. This reminds me of that. But yeah, I I completely recognize I am not the target demographic for this particular performance.
Right,
And
right.
so I also went into it because I was like, I had completely forgotten that the Super Bowl was even happening.
So
And
did I. So did I.
completely forgot, which just kind of shows like when there's a pop diva performing, I'm like tuned in, I am like counting down the days, like ready
Right.
to go.
Right.
And like no shade to Kendrick Lamar, but he's just not an artist that I typically gravitate to. But I recognize that he's hugely successful, obviously just off of 2 major Grammy wins. Did he win more Grammys than
I
the
think he
record
did.
and song?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, what a week for him.
Right.
Like congratulations to you, Mr. Lamar. But I thought that the staging was incredible. I was
Yes.
blown away by that, blown away by the camera work. Again, rap is not my go-to genre by any stretch, but I do love the way that he like I don't know if it's his cadence. I don't know if I'm using proper
Yeah.
terminology, but like the
No,
way
his
that
rhythm,
the way his rhythm, his
his
swagger,
flow, his flow.
and like he really, I just, the way it sounded, I was like, okay, I was like, this isn't necessarily for me, but I was like, he's doing it right now.
No, I mean the man is brilliant. He really is. And I've only begun to just like start to sort of dig into like the symbolisms of stuff.
Yeah.
And I still haven't gotten through everything. And I feel like I'm sort of waiting for people that are like way smarter than me to
Yeah.
sort of figure it out. And I'm just gonna kind of say, but I don't know. It just I feel like when I watched him, I was like, this is the reason why Beyonce works with you. Like
Yeah.
this is the reason. Like it makes sense. Like when I see, like I feel like we spend so much time in like the Beyonce versus Taylor Swift discussion, when to me, and I
Uh-huh.
don't even want to say verse because I feel like verse is such a stupid thing, but
Mm-hmm.
like I don't see Beyonce and Taylor as peers. They are on certain levels when you talk about money, success, albums, whatever, like what they do, they are definitely peers, but
Yeah.
they are nowhere near the same artist. But like to me, Kendrick and Beyonce, that is a much more interesting conversation to have.
Sure.
They seem much more similar to me
Yeah.
than than Taylor does. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't know how to better eloquently state this, but the taste that Beyonce has visually seems to mirror Kendrick's taste visually. There's
Yes.
just certain elements about the visuals of his performance yesterday that I
It's
was just like,
intentionality. It's
it's an
intentional. That's what it is.
intentionality, but then also just like, I don't know if it's, again, the camera angles, the staging, there's just a certain taste that an elevated taste, if you will, that you have to have. You have to know your sense about fashion. You have to know your sense
Hmm.
about staging. You have to know your sense about lighting. You have to know
Right.
these things and to know what works and what doesn't. And I wish I could, feel like I should be able to talk about this better because I'm a videographer by
Right.
day, but like, there's something about it where it's kind of like you can tell the difference in quality.
Well, you know
And
what I think it is? I think it when you get down to it, when it comes to people like that, there is when they do things, there is a reaction on the outside of people talking about it. Now we've got all the nonsense with people, everything is DEI, and they're talking about, well, oh well, this is why, and she did all this, and this is all women, and this is all, all black designers, and this is all this producers, and this is all with the, like, she's doing things that she knows will be successful in the mainstream regardless. But
mhm,
I don't feel like, how do I explain this? I feel like I'm getting tripped up. I feel like when it comes to Beyonce and someone like Kendrick, like, they're so a part of the culture that it's
yeah,
not a matter. There's not a discussion of, well, we have to make sure that we have to do this for this. They're already in it. Like, it's happening all around them. They're just a part of it. Whereas everybody on the outside is just like, well, why does this happen? And why are they doing this? Why is it like, they're just doing this because they're intentional artists. Like,
mhm,
they are making the culture is happening around them. They are following, people within their community already. They know who the next people that they're looking to for the next generation are, who they are, designer wise,
yeah.
producer wise, lyricists, like all of the, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know if I'm explaining that right.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think that you did that great. I think that you're spot on, is that they are like not only commenting on current culture, but they're also creating culture. They are,
Yeah.
like, it's like they're aware of what's happening, they're looking forward, they're looking ahead. Like,
Well, because I feel like we've gotten to this space where everything is so like, well, this era this and this era this, and I'm like, I don't like, when I look at a career like a Beyonce or even like a Madonna, like, I see Madonna throughout all of it. I see her trying things on and letting things go, but there
mhm,
is a clear through line that if
mhm,
you pay attention to anything this woman says or does, you can clearly see what she stands for and what she chooses to bring into her art. I feel the same way about Beyonce. I feel the same way about Kendrick Lamar.
yeah, I
Like,
completely agree.
there are non-negotiables. There is a standard. There is a level at which they work. There are things that are non-starters of how they feel about what they bring to their craft and what they're
Yeah,
trying to say with their platform and their voice. I'm sorry if I'm rambling, but it's like, there is this through line that I see, and that's why I think that a conversation with like Beyonce and Taylor seems stupid, because it's like Taylor is doing her own thing with her own fans, and that's totally great for her. But
mhm,
like, when you talk about like people that get it, like Beyonce and Kendrick, that feels more like an apt discussion to me.
right, yeah,
Sorry,
absolutely.
ramble.
No, no, nothing to apologize for. I mean, speaking of Taylor, it was wild to see people booing her
Right,
yesterday.
but that's stupid sports fans,
Yeah, for sure. But it was
you
just like
know.
it was one of those things where I was like, that blew. It was interesting to see what was kind of going quote unquote viral, with regarding the Super Bowl in general yesterday. Like,
Right.
that really took off, people booing her, like that clip of people booing her. The people seemed to be really surprised in a way that Kendrick performed Not Like Us. I'm like, y'all, that's his biggest hit.
That he just won multiple Grammys for.
Yeah, like, people was like seemed genuinely shocked, and I was like, either I'm like way too connected to music and like how this all works, or I don't know, maybe I'm missing something. But I was
Well,
like,
right, because like the even the New York Times wrote like a dumb stupid think piece from, I don't know, some other random white man that was just, talking about how he sort of missed the moment, and I'm like, I don't know. Actually, I think you missed the moment here. I don't think it's him. I think he actually
yeah,
did what I sort of expected him to do.
yeah,
And yeah, I don't know.
yeah. And then
So,
SZA made her appearance. She
looking
phenomenal. I
phenomenal.
loved her little pose that she did during Luther.
Yes, she's so
Um,
good.
yeah, yeah. I'm not a huge SZA fan, but I do appreciate her. I thought that she did great. Um,
What
I
I
know
feel
that.
like, what I realize about SZA, and what I realize is that I feel like, while I don't generally go to listen to her music as much, like to stream so much, she is somebody I'm always interested in watching perform live.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
What is it about her that you like to see perform live?
It's just everything. Like she's so in it. Like I randomly went to Jingle Ball. I think it was either last year or the year before. I think it might have been 2 years ago when Cher
Uh-huh.
was there. Of course, that's why I
Yes,
went.
of course.
And right. And so it was like Cher, Sabrina Carpenter, SZA, the Jonas Brothers, like whoever. I don't know. It was a bunch of people. And Cher was amazing, but when SZA came out, she was so I people went wild for her, and her dancing was so good. Her vocals were so on point. The mic was on, and it
Love.
it
We weren't
just
sure if it was yesterday, but that's okay. I'm not hating.
right. You know what? TV broadcasts being what they are, is what it is.
Yeah,
I
I
right.
literally like that has been a conversation piece today that people were like, "Oh, her mic wasn't even on," and I'm kind of like, honestly, I don't even care.
I don't.
Like,
I'm
it's
sorry. You don't have to prove anything to me.
it's the Super Bowl.
Right.
It was like most people lip sync or like if they're playing instrument. Like I remember the Red Hot Chili Peppers when they played with Bruno Mars, people were like, if their guitars aren't plugged in or whatever. And then
Right.
it's like they've got literally what 20 minutes, if that, 12 minutes to set up the stage,
Hmm.
and
And I'm
then
I'm sorry, but like, what? Who is performing at the Super Bowl that you feel needs to prove themselves?
right, yeah.
That has been given the chance to perform at the Super Bowl.
And also what people need to understand, because I think that people were like to be like, well, back in my day, people didn't lip sync or sing live,
Yeah, they
whatever.
did.
Yes, they did.
Hmm.
Exactly. The Beatles, when they were on, what was that? Was it American
First of
Bandstand
all, this is what
or
I tell
whatever?
people all the time. American Bandstand ran from something like 54 to like 80, 88 or something like that. Not one performance, not one single performance was done live on American Bandstand. Not
Right.
one.
Yeah.
Top of the Pops in
Top of
London.
the
All lip
famously,
sync, famously.
famously have to lip sync.
Right.
I think there was like maybe one or two performances on Top of the Pops that were not lip synced. But
Trust
even
me, it
but
makes things so much less complicated if you're not singing live for these people.
right, exactly. And it's like people don't, and if I'm remembering correctly, I believe even part of Whitney Houston's famous
Whole thing.
national anthem
Whole thing.
lip sync.
Yeah.
People are
She's
just really good at faking it.
right. They are performers. Like
Yeah.
there's like you are a
This is their
human.
job.
Right, but you are a human being, like just like any athlete. Like you cannot do it all the time. You cannot sing all the time. You
Yeah.
cannot run all the time. Like you have to. There's times where you have to actually give yourself time to rest, but people still want to see you.
Right.
So it's like if you're on vocal rest and you're going to go lip a performance, I don't Celine Dion, I don't what am I going to be mad at you for doing that on Oprah? Okay. Like
Right.
no, you're Celine Dion. Like what do you mean?
Right, exactly. It's like this isn't like some sort of situation where it's like Millie Vanilli is trying to pull the wool over our eyes.
Right.
Like it's like these people can sing. There are just situations, like as you just eloquently stated, like they just can't for whatever reason, and that's fine. Like
Well, and I also think that there's a people don't realize how intense like a pop star schedule can be. Like,
mhm,
just because you see somebody doing a performance or an interview on The View, like, there's American press, there's Canadian press, there's the UK press, there's the Asian market, like there's so many different things. And, you know, when I tell you I have seen, because working where I do, where we have been a stop on a press tour, where it's like,
mhm,
you get an artist come by for a little bit and you're going to record a liner and they're going to record and say, okay, this is what we want you to say, blah, 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 whatever, whatever. And they're going to do that. And then they're going to do it like 5, 6, 7 times, however many times, get that done. And then there are times where there are times built into artist schedules where from 12 to 3, they're signing albums. From 3 to 5, they're recording cameos. From 5 to 6, like whatever. Like there's so many different things that people
yeah,
have to do in a day, and I don't think people realize that. And
it's
it
crazy.
really is crazy, because like that's when I started noticing, like even in the early Britney years, that's when I think I really started to understand this. When I started seeing like clips as the internet became a thing of like people freaking out in Japan over Britney Spears and like freaking out in all of these different places over Christina Aguilera. And it's like, oh my God, like there's so many people around the world who know who these people are.
Yeah, that's when people bring up stories about like, oh, I met so and so, or I saw so and so, and they weren't very nice, or they were kind of cold, or whatever. I'm like, I have to remember, and I have to remind them that I'm like, these people are going nonstop,
Hmm.
24/7 a
Hmm.
lot of the times, and I was like, they're trying to get from A to B. I'm sorry that they didn't stop and have a full conversation with you, right? Like if they had to do that with you, they'd have to do it for everyone. And I was like, it's not personal. I know it feels personal because that person's made a huge impact on your life. And maybe they were even a little bit snippy or rude to you, but they were also probably up for 15 hours because they had a video shoot one day. And like you just said, like the press tour and all this stuff. It's like I can't imagine, like I had a pretty intense day just mentally for whatever reason. I can't imagine being asked to be like a super nice bubbly person like to 2,500 random strangers right now. If someone was
Right.
like, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like
Right.
it's I I don't know. Like so this is like a random story, but this is I swear it has a point. So my brother was in a band in high school, and I think that they were called Ryan Patterson,
Hmm.
and they opened for Stacey Orico. And
Work.
yes, for Stacey
Yes.
Rico in my hometown. In my hometown, we used to have this thing called the Venetian Festival every
Hmm.
summer, and she came to perform. She clearly booked this gig before she blew up, like mainstream wise,
Right.
right before the blow up on TRL. So I was stoked. I was like, oh my god, my brother is opening for her. I was trying so hard to meet her. I did not get a chance to meet her, but I was front row at the concert, and I was like super excited. The security guards were like, "Sir, you need to calm down." Like I was like, "Okay, I got it. I got it. I got it." And my brother said that she was in her tour bus all day, didn't say anything to anyone. And then she like when she was like leaving to go up on stage, he like yelled out to her, "Hey Stacy, don't suck." And then she was just like, "Okay."
Oh no.
And I was, and at the time when we were younger, he was all like, oh, like trying to imply that she was like being rude or whatever. But I'm like, no, she was probably on tour. Like she
Right.
was on tour. Like,
Right.
so she probably, I don't even know where she was the day before, but she has to rest. She has to, and then she has to get her makeup done. She has to do her warm ups and things like that. Like you have to have
Well,
your own
that, and
thing.
while this is all happening, there's still meetings happening. There's still emails that she's got to respond to. Like, you think that just like you become famous and all of a sudden you don't have to take part in what your career is? Like,
Right. And it's,
even if you listen to like Trixie Mattel talk about, like, she just took a 3-month break recently, and she was like,
uh
she's like, I took a 3-month break where I would have one hour every week to go through with my team to catch up and say yes, no, whatever, to sort of go through everything. Like, and that's
yeah.
not usual for her. Like, normally she's much more hands-on involved, and it's like, you this is when you see things going wrong and you're just like, oh, why is everything going wrong? It's like maybe they don't have a great team around them, or they're trying to make them do too much. Like, there's so many different reasons for, so like, I don't know,
Yeah.
I've been involved in all of this for too long now,
Right. Right.
that I
Yeah.
feel like I've seen too much, where I'm like, every time, like, to go back to your point, when somebody says, that somebody wasn't nice, and in my first thought in my mind is, how did you approach them? How did
Right.
you approach them, and what did you say? Did
Right.
you go up to them with a camera in your hand? Was your phone
Right.
open to take a selfie? Like, what did you say? Because I think that there's ways to for everybody to win in the situation, but
Mhm.
I think a lot of it has to do with that. And I think that in that moment, people don't even realize how they act sometimes.
Yeah.
And I think that sometimes their nerves really get the best of them. That's why I always say, like, I would love to meet Madonna. I think it would
Mhm.
be probably the most insane moment of my life. I
Yep.
also think I don't want to meet Madonna,
Right, same.
because I just don't think that I don't think it would be good for anybody,
Right.
you know?
I would need, if it were to happen, I would love it to happen in the right moment.
Right.
I would never approach her like that.
Right.
Right? I feel like I would have the wherewithal to be respectful
For
and
sure.
like, but I'm I don't know
Well,
how
because
physically I will react.
right, and that's kind of how I feel about her, and maybe like Cher, I think, would be the two that I'm like, I don't it's probably for the best for everybody that I don't meet you.
Right, yeah, because like when I thought I was meeting Cher when it was just a drag queen back when I was like 15 years old,
Right.
my knees began to buckle.
Right.
So if Madonna were approaching me, oh my god.
So Billie Eilish was on TikTok maybe 2 days ago, and we happened to catch it. We were here, and she was just like picking random people that were on her live, that were just
Uh-huh.
like commenting and just like inviting them in. And it was like these random young girls that were just sort of like literally flipping out. This girl, the entire time and like she invited her in, and Billy's like, "Hey, how are you? You know, like, what's your name? Like, what are you doing?" And this girl is just going, "Oh my god, oh my god, I'm shaking. Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god." And so Billy's like, "Okay, just take a breath." She's like, "You're fine. Like, just tell me, like, what's your name? Like, how are you? Like, you look so cute. Like, you know what's going on, blah, blah, blah." And she was just, "Oh my god, I'm shaking." And I'm like, "Girl, get it together. Like,
Get it
you
together.
have all of this time and all this space to like say whatever you want and tell her how
Yeah.
much you love her and how much it's meant to you." You
Yeah.
know? And I mean, look, she's a young girl, you know, it is what it is. But
Right. Yeah.
I was just like, and one after the next,
Yeah.
so many of these people got on and were just like completely couldn't speak, couldn't say anything. And I'm like, see, I think that would be me with Cher. That's why I don't think it would be a good thing.
Yeah. I feel
Yeah.
like that. Yeah. That would be me with. That would definitely be me with Madonna
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah.
You met Kylie though, right?
I did. And it
Or
was
you like took a photo with her?
I
I don't know if you.
I met her once backstage from her Vegas show, and she was literally the nicest person ever. Like,
Yeah.
and her team was like, "Don't ask for a photo if she, you know, she's got a lot of things going on, blah blah blah." And I was like, "Oh, look," I said, I'm just happy to say hi." I said, and tell her that I think she's wonderful. You know, I don't really, don't got to be a thing.
Yeah.
Within seconds, she was like, "Do you guys want to take a photo?" And
Oh
I was
my
like,
gosh.
like grabbing my phone. I'm like, "Yeah, yes, hold on, hold on, hold on."
You're like, actually, Ms. Minogue, your team told me not to take a photo with you.
Right.
So
Fired everybody. But no, and like amazing. But that's you know, I've met her a few times, and they've always been like meet and greets and different things like that. But
yeah.
gracious, lovely,
Yeah.
fantastic, like never anything less than. Like she's
Mhm.
just she's amazing. But yeah, so I don't know.
There
I
are
just,
certain people.
if you're gonna go up to people, just have something prepared or say something, like introduce yourself.
Mhm.
Tell them what you love about them, like what the work is that inspired. You know what I mean? Like just like start from a place of like, I don't know.
Yeah.
It's very chaotic to start from a place of tears.
Yeah. I was looking, there was a clip that I saw on Twitter because Christina Aguilera, I think, was in Brazil for just recent over
Oh,
the
they
weekend.
love her there.
And well, there was a clip of her signing like there were people surrounding her. She was signing an autograph for a fan, and then a guy came in and kissed her on the cheek,
Mm-mm.
and then like her bodyguard kind of like pushed him. She like didn't even flinch. I mean, she clearly looked
Right,
overwhelmed
right.
for sure. But it's one of those things where it's kind of like, yeah, like in my head, I'll be honest, like I've always wanted to be famous. I've always wanted it. I know that it's not cool to say that anymore. I've always wanted to be famous. I've always wanted people to like grovel over me, blah 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 blah. Maybe I'm narcissistic, whatever. But seeing these types of scenarios now,
Nah, you don't want
and
it.
and even experiencing just the tiniest, I don't even call it fame, but it's just like when I get recognized out in public, it's cool, but it is strange. It's just a strange feeling. Thankfully, everyone I've met has been very respectful and very
Mhm.
kind, right? I don't know if I could handle like something like that with Christina,
I
what I
don't.
witnessed, you know?
Yeah, you know what it is. It's not only is there nobody can tell you how to navigate it, but it's specifically a loss of anonymity that you don't know how to handle and you don't know what to do with. And I think that
Yeah.
that's where I think people trip up the most. And I
Hmm.
think that now, having experienced it on the small level that I have and do,
Hmm.
I when I see things, or when I see like celebrities act out, or if I see like something that looks a little crazy or messy, or even in hindsight looking back at like situations and different things and different child stars and whatever, like I get it and I totally see how things happen and I totally understand. And it's sort of like, I'm going to not speak about that because you know what, something's happening here. I don't know what it is, but there's something going on. And I feel like it's taught me to be a little bit more kinder about it now, because it is such a bizarre thing. And it
Yeah.
is, yeah, it is really weird.
I don't know where she was, but Ariana Grande was just somewhere over the weekend, and she was saying that she thinks that, you know, whether you're an actor or a singer, if you are someone in the entertainment industry and you're about to get signed to something, they need to provide therapists and therapy
For sure.
for you that you need to see multiple times a week because your life is about to change.
Right.
And
Right.
I completely agree. And I think that piggybacks perfectly off of Chapel Roan's speech at the Grammys the other week. Like,
And
like
it brilliant.
who to think livable wages and therapy. Like, what a
Right.
wild concept, right?
It's almost like everybody's asking for the same thing.
Nuts. Absolutely nuts.
Right.
Like, I
And
thought that was brilliant.
it was brilliant, and what was so crazy to me, how almost instantly there was a response from an executive.
Right. Of course.
Like, within, like, days, there was a response, and I'm like, "You've got to be joking me," and I'm like and
Yeah.
of course, and again, she called him out and went back at him, and I'm like, "Brilliant, brilliant." Like, you've got no leg to stand on here. Like, I'm sorry, there's no the amount of money you're making on the backs of these people is obscene.
It's crazy, especially too, like, which is when you look at streams and you look at like how much songwriters make per song per stream. Like, you have to have millions, if not billions, of streams in order to make any sort of
Anything.
livable anything. Like, I was watching an interview with Justin Tranter with Toby Gad.
He's so brilliant.
Yeah.
I love him so much.
And he was saying that it took months for him to get his first, what's it called, residual check from, and I don't remember what song it was. It was like, I don't think it was when Sorry had come
royalty
out.
check. Sorry, royalty check.
Royalty check, yeah. It was, I think that it was some song that he had written though for someone, and then he said, he was like, it took ages for it to get to him. So he was like, I had this song that was racking up millions and millions of streams, but he was like, I didn't see anything. I was still broke.
Right.
And I was like, that's the crazy thing about this industry.
And it's super common.
Yeah. Oh,
yeah.
This is just what is what am I trying to say? Like, that this is just the norm.
Right. Right.
And so that's why I think like someone like myself is so scared to ever chase something like that, because I've lived a life of poverty for like 10 years.
Right.
And it was awful.
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't want to experience that again.
No, it really is crazy. Like, when you go through, like, you know, how they advance money and that you have to recoup and they have to make their money back. And it's like, this is why so many artists, like when you hear they got dropped by the label, they whatever, like if the things aren't moving, like they're on to the next, like they want it to hit instantly, you know.
Yeah.
And there's not a ton of trying. That's why I get very excited when I see indie artists sort of doing their own thing or starting their own labels or whatever. Like, I'm very like, okay, let's support that, because I love that you're doing this, because again, you deserve, like, there's so many artists that are still fighting for their masters and fighting for publishing, and you know, who's waiting for catalogs to be sold here and whatever. Like, there's so much that I hear behind the scenes from so many artists that it's really crazy.
Yeah. I have no idea how we got here, but I wanted to bring up, I did have a critique about, it's not about Kendrick Lamar.
Oh,
this is back to the halftime show. We
Go,
just went.
Do it.
I don't even know how we got into this tangent, but
Sorry.
Hey, let's celebrate that. That's what this show's about. That's what
Yes.
this show's about. One thing that I wanted to say about Kendrick Lamar's halftime show, and again, this is not about Kendrick Lamar himself. I did, when I was watching the performance and after it was done, I thought to myself, I cannot help but wonder how people would react to this performance if this were the exact same scenario and performance, but if he was a female.
Oh.
And I just feel like the way that we compare, because I have seen the controversial takes from the conservatives and all the racists out there who are like predictable as hell.
Right.
But I've been seeing a lot of praise for his performance.
Right.
I'm not saying he doesn't deserve the praise, but I do know that like when Rihanna performed pregnant on these floating stages, there was a lot of conversation about how she didn't give enough energy, how she seemed quote unquote bored, whatever. And this is why, again, I kind of looked at these performances as similar to one another in a way where I was like, Kendrick Lamar clearly had lots of swagger throughout, and he did some choreography. He worked with the dancers really well. I thought that his movements were very fluid. I thought he moved really well, but he wasn't giving Tate McRae choreography, if you will, which we'll get to her in a minute.
Right.
But you know what I'm saying? And so it's one of those things where I was like, if this was Megan Thee Stallion right now and gave the exact same performance, well, I should say, if this were Megan Thee Stallion, she would be expected to not only have all the dancers and everything that was currently going on, but she would have had to done all the choreography, hitting it hard, if not harder than all the other dancers combined.
With costume reveals. I mean, we talked about the bell bottoms, but I mean, he was just wearing bell bottom jeans and a moto jacket with some gloves and what looks like maybe a t-shirt or something underneath. And I'm not trying to shit on it,
it's just I noticed this time and time again. I know actually I said Megan Thee Stallion, but I think it was actually Megan Thee Stallion herself and Dua Lipa who had brought up years ago that like female performers have to work 2, 3, 4 times harder for any sort of live performance
Right.
than the men do. And I do feel like this holds true to that.
I think that this holds true to everything about a woman in society.
Yeah,
You
yes.
know, I think that it's, if you really want to boil it down to brass tacks, like it really, we expect more from women than we do anybody else in society,
We
let
really
alone
do.
black women, you know?
Right.
So,
Exactly.
right. So it's like, I, I think that when I went into the performance last night, I was not going in it with any expectation of seeing like Madonna or even Rihanna type level of performance.
Same, yeah.
You know, I just didn't think that was going to happen. But I think that it also speaks to like what, how women are set up as pop stars and how men are, because even if you look like, let's say you look at a video from Justin Timberlake's most recent tour, you
Mhm.
know, when he's got that whole thing with the harness and he's floating on the thing above, whatever, and that's all fine and good and whatever, but
Sure.
like it's pretty stark.
Mhm.
It's him, it's the floating thing, and that's it. There's not really anything else happening. You see
Yeah.
Drake on his last tour, and he was up on that elevated stage, and he was just sort of running around on that, and the lights
Mhm.
were happening, and it was just that.
Yeah.
So it's not really out of line with what they're doing normally. Whereas I feel like the pressure is always on women pop stars, female pop stars, to sort of level up and try something new. Because again, we have the, well, now it's this era and it's this era and this era. And I'm like, well,
Mhm.
maybe it's not an era. Maybe it's just them sort of continuing being the great artist. You know, like everything
Right.
has to be sort of like put in this finite box so that way it's marketable for each era, each thing, each variant, each whatever. Like it's
Yeah.
and I feel like the men just don't have that. Like Kendrick's album came out, there aren't 9 million vinyl variants for this.
Right.
You know, I think there's like maybe 3 different ones.
Right.
It's like a
Yeah.
black one and maybe like 2 special edition ones that he signed or whatever.
Right.
So I think that it's just how the industry treats women in general, but again, I think that goes back to how we treat women in general.
I agree. That is very well put. I completely agree.
Yeah.
Completely agree. Because then too with like women, it's like if they were to do I don't know, I always see these critiques about like people don't need all the bells and whistles. They just need like their guitar and like their piano whatever. And it's
Okay.
like but I'm like people like what they like, right? Like I can appreciate an acoustic performance. I personally gravitate more to the theatrical and my thing is too is like when people do those types of criticisms and they're like oh they don't need a million dancers or whatever, I'm like this is just a different type of performance. I was like
Right.
don't knock all of these dancers and stylists and lighting experts and all of these people who are putting on this show because you think that it takes more talent to sit on a guitar on a stool with a guitar and sing a ballad or I don't know
Right, right,
you know what
right.
I'm saying, like
No,
it's like
totally.
it drives me insane. It's like, yeah,
Yeah, I think it's just in general people think that pop music is easy and that, you know,
right.
that all of the stuff that like a pop star is just very simple to sort of pull off. And I'm like, you would not last
An
an
hour.
hour with their schedule. It's
Mm-mm.
crazy. I mean, look, I've been seeing that I've for 10 years at Peloton, where people have I've seen so many people write so many things about the coaches, myself, and whatever, and it's like you have no idea what it takes to make these things happen, and it's like none of you would last an hour doing this because I'm that was the first thing that I always felt like I was so struck by was being on stage with these coaches and watching them work out, like do a workout, but also like engage with me, engage with people in the room, and still like find moments to say something inspirational and have like a fully cohesive thought, be able to speak clearly and loudly and be encouraged. Like that's the thing that blows my mind when I would, that
Nuts.
was the first thing I'm like, because if I'm working out, I cannot speak.
Right.
I cannot sit here and give you a lecture. I cannot tell you a story.
Yeah.
I can barely keep myself together. Like I get that they train for this and I understand that, but it's not easy is what I'm trying to say. And it's
It's
like,
not.
so I think that the assumption that this is just that they make it look easy should be an indication to people more that this is their talent
Right.
that
Exactly.
is making it easy or look easy.
Exactly. It's their talent, it's their hard work, it's all of the time and energy that they've put into this.
Right.
Absolutely. If it looks effortless,
Right.
there's a lot of work that's went into it.
Look, I put a reel up on my Instagram from my New Year's Eve class with Jess King that we just did.
Uh-huh.
And the amount of comments and DMs that I got from people that were like, "Oh my God, I had no idea that this is what goes on behind the scenes." And I'm like, "Well, do you
Yeah.
think like there's camera operators, there's PAs, there's wardrobe, there's so many different things, like, and it's so crazy that people think, oh well, they just go to work, and what do you think we do all day?"
Right. Yeah, it's crazy. People at my job, so I'm the only videographer
Right.
that works for my company,
Hmm.
and I am tasked to do all of the video work. I do finally this year we are starting to hire some external vendors to do certain types of
Oh,
projects, thank God.
nice.
Because I have been saying, I'm like, I've been kind of saying, I'm just like, I can't just be the only one doing this.
Right.
You guys want me to be your videographer, but you also want me to be your photographer. You also want me to be your digital signage manager. You want me to be doing all of these things simultaneously. And I was like, now that we've started diving into testimonial work in the last couple of years, I was like, even when I'm sitting down and doing a quote unquote simple testimonial, we've simplified it. I have refined the process. It is to me now like quote unquote easy, but it still takes time to coordinate schedules and then sit down and make sure the lighting's good, make sure the audio is good, making sure no one's interrupting and walking around. And I was like, we have to get someone who's actually doing the interviewing. We have to have like lights set up. We have to, it's a whole thing. I was like, it's not just sitting down with your iPhone.
And you know what's crazy is that what I've also realized too, as we have all of these discussions about AI now, and everybody's talking about AI and what it can do and what we're trying to do and what it can train to whatever, no one who has ever offered AI to me as a solution for anything has
Mhm.
ever done anything creative.
Right.
So, to
Yeah.
me, what that is saying is that not only do most people or do people not understand the role of the artist and what it is that they do to create art, but that you're not actually interested and you just want to sort of wave the wand and make the thing happen because you don't really get it
Right.
and you don't understand, and it's you don't have that creative bone in your body like that. And again, that's fine, not everybody's meant to do these things, but
Mhm.
I realized that too recently because I'm like, no one that I know, any of the artists that I know, anyone who is involved in any type of creative venture has ever come to me and been like, oh my God, AI is good. I use AI for this and AI for that. No one I know is using AI for that. Like there's ways of people that are using it in music for certain things and getting stems and whatever. I understand that. I use it for that, but
Yep.
not for a creation standpoint.
Right,
Not
exactly.
that I'm going to put my name on it.
We use it as a tool,
Right.
just like we would use any other type of tool.
Right.
But it's not oh yeah, we'll just do this instead.
Right.
You know?
Right.
Yeah. Oh
I
my
know.
God. Yeah.
Anyway,
Anyway, well,
you know
speaking
who's
of
not you know
AI,
who's not using AI?
who?
Miss Tate McRae.
Well, maybe. Who knows?
Oh, I
I'm
have
just
no idea. I have
kidding.
no idea. But
No idea. But
let me tell you. So I've been creating a playlist on my Spotify that I'm just calling Strut, period. And it's specifically songs at like a very specific BPM
I
that I
love
can
that.
sort of 1-2 stomp as I'm walking through New York City.
Uh-huh.
From the second that sports car started, I was like, immediately add to playlist.
This is Strut. This is a
Ugh,
Strut song.
it is.
It it's the first Tate McRae song that I absolutely love.
I loved Greedy, but this is the one.
This is the one. I mean, I don't. I mean, well, I was gonna say I don't know what it is about it. I think I know exactly what it is about that I love. I mean, it is basically kind of like a sped up 2025 version of Buttons, if you
Totally,
will,
totally.
and I'm completely okay with it.
Buttons 2.0, and thank God.
I thank God.
Arrived right on time.
Sure, it certainly did. Because let me tell you what, this song,
Mm.
the production, I was listening to it when I was working out today, and like that, like I don't know, it's like almost kind of like a goatish type of background vocal
Hmm.
that is so cunty, and just the whole song is cunty. Like,
And it's like there's something that I love about it being a Ryan Tedder song,
yeah,
because I
yeah,
feel like he's just one of these like straight men that just somehow manages to like squeeze out the gayest songs ever out of him, and I love it.
right, yeah.
Love.
I would love to know the creation process of this song. Is he the one that being like, Tate, maybe you should say in
And
it?
I don't know, because I
Like,
feel like that does feel very like Julia Michaels is very clever when it comes to the lyrics of stuff.
true.
Like
Yeah.
she's very like, I got to give her credit. Like, and I love Julia Michaels, but it's yeah,
Yeah.
I think that's a talk about a combo. Ryan
Yeah.
Tedder and Julia Michaels. I mean, Jesus.
Yeah. But also this music video
Ugh,
is really great too. It
it's
shows a new side to Tate that I think that we've all been waiting for.
right.
Because I think that we have recognized in the past that Tate is an incredible dancer. I mean, that's how
Yes.
she got her start, right?
Yeah.
Um, I think that, and I can't speak for you, but for me, I think the music that she has put out thus far, I think part of it is just that it just didn't feel like it was her clearly, but I was like, this could also be someone else, and I would be like, oh yeah, absolutely, right? It didn't,
Right. Like I feel like it's there I didn't really know what her sonic identity was.
right. And it does
Like
still feel like she's figuring it. It feels like with this album, it has a little bit more solidified.
totally, totally. And look, and I totally get that maybe in 2025 you're not trying to just peg yourself as like, the video vixen girl. Like, and I get
Right.
that. And you want to be deeper, and I bet that she writes music, and I'll totally like I've seen Ryan Tedder speak very, very passionately about her songwriting and how
Mm-hmm.
involved she is. So it's like, sure, like I agree. Like, who am I to say no? But it's
Yeah.
um I don't know. I think that there's if you're really trying to get the gals, like you really like this is the right move. And I feel like it's I don't know. When was the last time that we had somebody really like whisper in a song like that?
Right. Yeah.
Like it's been a
Like
minute.
whispering for the chorus, and I thought about that when I was like listening to it. I was like, this is so interesting that she's not even talking on the chorus; she's
Right.
whispering. I love it.
It's
I
so
love it.
good.
And I felt almost ashamed to like talk about how much I love the song.
Oh
But
no,
like,
because as soon as I had headphones on for the first time and I heard it in my headphones, I was like, "Oh bitch. Oh bitch." I was like,
yeah,
this is it. This is
it's
it."
so good. It's so good.
Yeah.
So thank you, Tate, for delivering. Like we and again, like I, you know, I spoke earlier about like, how we expect women to do the most,
Right.
right?
Right.
And I really try I've realized in my younger years, I definitely was that person where I was like, I hate this person and I
Right.
hate that person
For
and blah 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 blah
sure. For
blah, right?
sure.
I don't want to be that person. And
Mhm.
like but I still want to give criticism where I feel like I can, but I've also just recognized that like especially young artists, they have very little control over their careers,
Right.
right? I would assume that Tate right now is in a phase where I'm not saying that, I don't know, but I would assume that she is not in the full creative wheel of her art. I
Mm.
would say that she's probably has a say, but I would say that also Ryan Tedder has a say. I would
Right.
say that her label has a say, and there's a team of people around her suggesting certain things.
For sure.
So anyway, all that to be said, any sort of criticism that I have with people isn't always necessarily about the artist. It's about the industry itself.
Right. Right.
Right. And so, um, yeah, I love this song.
I love it. I really, really do. I
It,
have nothing but good things to say about it, and I'm very much looking forward to the album.
yeah, I am too. I am too. I think that I feel like 2025, I mean, it's a little early to say, but like 2024 was a great year in music. Great.
Yeah, yeah, it
We,
was.
we had a great year in music, and at least we had a ton of releases, right? We
Right.
had a ton of releases. This year's shaping up to be really great so far.
So
Music
far.
wise, music
Right,
wise,
right, right, right.
music wise. Let me
Let's
clarify.
clarify.
Let me
But you know what though? I
clarify.
feel like that sort of happens. I
Yeah,
feel like in a time of like societal strife, we could say, but I think that
yeah,
that sort of happens. It kind of, and
yeah.
I think even I myself have been sort of like down a little bit lately, and I'm
Hmm.
kind of coming around now where I'm like, you know what? You kind of need to be louder than ever.
Yeah,
You need art. You need to sort of push these things out. So it's yeah. I think
yeah,
that we're gonna see a lot of that.
yeah. Absolutely. Because I mean, like Abracadabra, like completely put a spell on all of us. Like
I
did not expect it to be the phenomenon that it is.
At all. And I can't, like, watching everybody's reaction, seeing it happen online, like, she has been so involved
Mm-hmm.
and commenting on people's social media posts and stuff. It's been so wonderful to, whether it's her, whether it's someone on her team, I don't know. I
Yeah.
believe it's her. It seems like it's her. I'm
Yeah.
gonna think that it's her, but either way, it's just, I don't know. It's nice to see, and I'm glad that she's sort of taking the extra time. But dear God, I'm obsessed with the song. It's like
It's
90% of what I'm still listening to every day.
same. I've listened to it like 3 or 4 times during my workout this morning, and I was like, it's been a minute since I've had a song like this on repeat that I haven't been like, oh, I'm kind of getting sick of it now, right? Like I'm
Right.
still like, give it to me. I'm
Every
obsessed.
every time it gets to that part where it's the feel the beat, I'm
Yeah,
fire. Oh
exactly.
God.
Oh,
I feel like I
it's
could run through the wall.
same,
Yeah.
same, same. And I also want to shout out Bentley Robles and Z Machine released a song called Lock Me Up.
Yep.
Their first official collaboration as a new group called Tears and Gears.
Speaking of women who are just getting it together.
Getting it together. Wham found dead.
That's it. Wham 3.0.
Wham 3.0. I'm obsessed with it. I'm
I love.
obsessed
In a surprise
with it.
to no one.
Right, you're right.
Right.
Yeah. It's fantastic. For those of you that have not listened to the song yet, I would say sonically it lives in the same world as maybe Dancing on My Own, Lady Gaga's Stupid Love. What is that like synthesizer machine that they use in it that creates that sound that like
It's an arpeggiator is basically what it's called.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. The song is amazing. Their voices sound spectacular together.
Oh yeah. And I've been waiting for this for a minute because I feel like that there is something very sort of symbiotic about both their voices.
Yeah. And so I've had that song and Abracadabra almost kind of, and Sports Car, kind of like the three of them just kind of playing on loop.
It's really kind of nuts.
Yeah.
Like I really can't, like, and it's not even that I've been streaming Abracadabra. I've been like watching the video on YouTube over and over.
Same.
Like it's been like kind of nuts. Like it's not even Spotify that I'm like obsessed in.
Yeah. Same. It's like, and it's,
Because I
all
mean,
I have
like,
to say.
I was
Yeah.
watching that video and I was like, you know what? I take back everything I've ever said about Nerdtech. I take it all back.
Take it all back.
I take it all back.
It is all worth it.
It's part of the hero's journey.
It really is.
And that's it. So you know what, Gaga? I am so glad your headaches are gone because they look like your headaches are gone.
Her headaches are gone. Recession pop is back.
Yes. Oh,
Speaking
wait. And I saw you listen to, was it Grant Canoke? The
Yeah.
Autopilot? I love him.
That was so good. So I think that when we were talking about it, I think I said it gave me some like Michael Jackson vibes. It also, to me, did you listen to the song Big by Usher on his album last year?
Oh, I don't know. I probably have, but I probably don't know by name.
To me, they live in the same universe.
Okay, I gotta listen.
And yeah, it's just very, I think it's just that's what it is that Michael Jackson-esque type of melody, that like they're all kind of like that.
Yeah.
And very good.
You know what? And I think that we should do at some point, and I'm just saying this on the pod right now, but I think that as we get closer to Pride, I think we should do an episode that does all of these like gay pop stars, because I have so many.
You better believe it.
Right.
We should absolutely do that. That would be so much fun.
Because I have to say, Grant, do you remember that? I don't know if you saw during the pandemic, they did this show called the American Song Contest, I think it was called.
No.
And it was Kelly Clarkson was the host, and was it Snoop Dogg? Maybe
this sounds vaguely familiar.
I want to say I feel like I'm misremembering, but I feel like it might have been that because it was something chaotic like that. Anyway, he was on it, and that's where I first discovered him.
Wow.
And it's been sort of like 5 years I've been like watching his kind of journey. Like,
good for him.
Yeah, and like coming into his own, and like, you know, figuring out who he is and everything. And did you even hear?
Now he's on Autopilot.
Right, and David Archuleta's cover of George Michael's Freedom.
I saw that he covered it. I did not listen to it yet.
Okay. Look.
Oh my God. I love me some David Archuleta.
I love, and look, there's nobody who's going to be George Michael. No one is going to be George Michael. But
right.
It's super cute. It's super cute. I love it.
Is it 6 minutes long?
I don't even know because it just came on shuffle when I was.
Because if it's not 6 minutes long, then I'm not listening to it.
It probably isn't. Let's be honest.
Because the original is like 6 minutes long,
something
isn't
like
it?
that. Yeah.
Talk about a great fucking pop song.
Dear God.
Damn. freedom.
That used to be my closing song when I would DJ for quite some time, for a few
Oh,
years.
that's a brilliant
Yeah.
closing song.
Yeah,
Wow.
it's been "Ain't Nobody" by Shaka Khan, George Michael's "Freedom," but for the most part, it's been Madonna's "Take a Bow."
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah, I play that at the end of every night.
Oh, that's so cute.
Yeah.
I love that. You're really educating the children.
I'm trying. The ones that
I
get
love
it, get
that.
it.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, John Michael, it comes to the time of the show where we talk about a song we don't talk about enough. This is the section of the show. I've noticed that when I've re-listened back to the episodes, I need to be better about kind of reminding people what this segment is. Is that like we just say songs don't we talk about enough? This is the segment where we talk about a song that, yes, is obviously not talked about enough, but we like to bring up songs that like are very maybe just unknown, rare. And so that's the whole point of this segment. So, John Michael,
I texted you about this a few days ago, and
you certainly did.
And it's so weird because I feel like this artist, she's one of these people that I don't listen to normally very often, but it will just take something that will make me think of one of her songs that I like. I'll listen to it, and then I'm in the spiral immediately. And then it just jumps from this to this to this to this because I'm like, oh, and then there's this song. Oh, and then there's this song. Oh, and this remix. And she is that person. And it is LeAnn Rimes. And it feels like I love this song so much. I actually should have been more prepared to know what year this was.
I want to say it's 2007. Let's see if I'm right.
You're right. I think you're right. And it feels like, but it was on her Whatever We Wanna album, I think it was. And 2006, the song came out. The album was 2007.
Okay. Got it.
So you're right. But yeah, so this song, the vocal performance is phenomenal. It's a really great pop song. Although I guess when I listen to it now, it would be adult contemporary pop, they would say.
Right.
You know, but the remix was actually the way that I found the song first. High Tech did that remix of it, and I was absolutely just in love with that. But she kind of became like one of these random remix queens. I know we were talking about this too in our text messages.
She did, and she. I mean, I would love to dedicate an entire episode to this, but like LeAnn Rimes, dance diva. Not even kidding.
Right.
She has an incredible remixography. From
an entire remix album, right?
She has 2 remix albums.
Oh, work.
She has one that was kind of released internationally, like along with like her greatest hits that came out back in like the early 2000s, and then she did a second one. I was gonna say a few years ago, but I probably was close to like 10 years ago now. But like, what is time? But honestly, and she's got a great relationship with Dave Audet, and so he does a lot of her remixes. But honestly, this song so again, for the listeners that maybe didn't catch it, it's called "And It Feels Like." And it was the lead single off of the, as you mentioned, the Whatever We Wanna album.
Yes.
The album was only available in like the UK and like I think select part of Europe for a really long time. Like it was only made available on streaming in the US in, I want to say, within the last couple of years.
It says the album was released and promoted exclusively in Europe, Taiwan, and Brazil. It was originally slated to be released in the US and even appeared in the US iTunes store briefly. However, the release was pulled due to the success of her single from the This Woman album, Something's Gotta Give, which peaked at number 2 on Billboard's top country songs, leading to an increase in sales of This Woman.
Wild.
Right.
Yeah. So she had this whole album because and like, as you mentioned, the High Tech remix. I loved the Friday Night Posse remix, which is like a high energy, like Cascada style remix.
Well, and it's funny that you say that because I'm like, let's draw the connection here. Cascada covered Rascal Flatts' What Hurts the Most, and one of the co-writers of this song, And It Feels Like, co-wrote What Hurts the Most.
And there you have it, folks.
3 degrees of Cascada.
Oh my God. Well, LeAnn Rimes, we fucking love you.
She has so many good songs and so many good remixes, and I feel like we just don't talk about her enough. But this song, and I went in my spiral. Not only did I watch the music video, which is also very, very good. Needs a remaster, by the way. But I even found a reaction video. Some queen reacting to this, to like a live performance of her doing it somewhere in, I don't know, some live performance. And I was like, look at this. I was like, the girls are okay. The children are going to be fine.
The children are going to be okay.
They're going to be fine.
Well, let's manifest this now. LeAnn Rimes, we would love to have you on this show.
Friend of the pod, LeAnn Rimes.
Friend of the pod, LeAnn Rimes, would love to have you on this show to exclusively talk about your dance remixes.
I will roll out the red carpet.
Would that not be just such a fucking serve?
The gag.
Like, the gag. Like, no, LeAnn, we are not talking about how How Do I Live?
Well, you know what? I
Well,
actually
only the
the
Mr.
dance
Mig.
right. Only the Mr. Mig remixes. Because like I would like to know, like, clearly now she has much more of a say in like what she's doing. And I think she might still be with Curb Records, which I feel like she's been with her entire career. They have like a
Okay.
very, very big long lasting relationship. But either way,
Yeah.
like, did you have a say in that? How did it happen in the earlier days versus how you're
Yeah.
choosing that now? Like, I would like to know that sort of journey.
Right. I would love to know that too.
Same.
Oh my gosh, we're putting that out in the world.
Manifesting.
Manifesting. Okay, my songs we don't talk about enough. So I'm a bad Janet Jackson fan because I completely forgot that traditionally now on the Super Bowl, it is Janet Jackson Appreciation Day. So this is my making up for that.
Okay, I love it.
By not posting anything yesterday about Janet Jackson Appreciation Day. I am gonna go ahead and say I was like mulling around this all day long. I was like, there was 3 Janet Jackson songs in mind. I was like, which one do I want to bring up? And I am going to go ahead and bring up one that I famously love. It's a collaboration that got no love, no light for the longest time. It had a $2 million animated video. It was a collaboration with Blackstreet. The song was a giant flop, but then she performed it on her Together Again tour. I think this was, oh my gosh, was it 2 years ago now? 2023. And it was same. Yeah, same year as Renaissance Tour. The song is called Girlfriend Boyfriend. It also features Ja Rule and Eve on the rap in the middle of the song. The song is
so good.
It's so good.
This is on streaming, right? I just want to make sure.
It is on streaming.
Okay,
I believe it's on Blackstreet's Finally album.
See, like, this is one of those moments because I just typed in Janet Girlfriend and nothing came up.
Of course. That's homophobic right there.
Homophobic. There it is. She's not even credited on the track.
Right. Yes, that's the issue.
What?
Is that she is not credited on the track. So whoever is involved with this song,
this is
crazy.
Fix it.
I said fix it.
Wait, this is Interscope Records. I know someone's getting an email.
Okay, good, because that needs to get fixed. And
that's crazy.
Nuts. But this song is a complete bop. When I have played this song for people, they're like, whoa, this is like really fun and really like it's just like would you call this song like a New Jack Swing style?
Absolutely.
Okay. Yeah. Like it is funky. It makes you want to dance. I was the only person at my concert screaming the lyrics. I was like, people were like, what is this? And I was like, you don't know this classic from 1999?
I've got to be honest. Everybody, when I saw it too, had no idea what was going on.
No idea.
Yeah.
Blowing up my pager because she's ready to bone.
I mean,
name a better lyric.
Look, and if anybody was ready to bone at that time in that year, it was Blackstreet.
It was Blackstreet and Janet. I mean,
I'm kind of here for it.
Yeah. So let's celebrate that.
Right.
So Janet, love you. We love Janet Jackson.
We love Janet Jackson Appreciation Day.
Her New Vegas residency looks really fun.
Let me tell you, like, she's so dialed in now.
Yeah.
You know, like, and I feel like the last 2 tours I saw, and I haven't seen this most recent one, although I think they're all pretty much somewhat similar. But she looks great. Like the costumes are different. Like she's snatched.
Yep.
The body looks great. And I'm like, girl, like, come on. But like, it's so not even a question. Like, is she going to give a good show? Because like, it's just second nature. It's just an extension of her. Like, I've never seen somebody so fluid when they dance like that.
A born performer, stage presence. I mean, you don't find, I mean, true, kind of invented stage presence, to be completely honest. I mean,
really?
Like when she got on that stage and just like stared into the audience, I was like losing my damn mind. I was like, right. Like, oh my God. And she's just literally just standing there. Right. And I'm like, yes, mom, do nothing. Like, and do it for 10 more minutes.
Right.
Like, it's so good. Right. And I just love her. And talk about, I mean, like for Super Bowl, like honestly, it's time. I say, I mean, there's a lot of people that I would like to perform the Super Bowl halftime show. But while she is in the great condition that she is in, it's time to reinvite Janet Jackson back to the Super Bowl and to have her do the halftime show. I would love for her to do it solo.
I think do it solo, but you know what? At this point, take both your titties out.
Either take both the titties out or bring Justin Timberlake out and pull his dick out.
Right.
Just saying.
let's do it. Let's do it. We're gonna do it. Let's really do it.
Let's just really do it. Or like have like, oh my God. Ugh. It would just be, honestly though, like truly, she has so many great songs. Her set lists lately have been absolutely sickening.
Right.
Like she has been, I love how she's been really giving the deep cuts to the fans lately, songs that she's never performed live. Like she's doing Slow Love on this residency right now. Like, let's celebrate that.
Right.
Like, come on. So I just feel like she has such an incredible catalog. She could really do it justice. Because when she performed last time, controversy aside, she only did Rhythm Nation and All For You.
Right.
So, and then did the little bit of Rock Your Body with Justin Timberlake. So this time I would love for her to do it completely solo, give us like, 8 to 12 songs, mashups, whatever, and just show the world the fucking goddess that you are.
Right, because it's ridiculous. Like she's so successful on tour, but I feel like she's not getting anywhere near the cultural recognition that some of the other people are getting, and it just doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah. So
I don't get it. There needs to be like either some sort of, because the industry is so weird with this sort of shit, I feel that there's got to be some sort of like a songwriter hall of fame, like something industry related that they've got to like bring her into to sort of like kickstart this sort of social consciousness again. So it's got to be something like that. There's got to be some sort of lifetime achievement, whatever. Like there's got to be something that's got to
let's invent an award.
Right. Like they do it for everybody else, like that's, and this is actually somebody who's deserving of it. So I don't know. That would be kind of amazing though.
It would be a serve, and would make the world right again, at least for that, 13 minutes and 20 seconds.
Yeah,
so
but as far as I'm concerned, the Super Bowl is a cursed thing that we do every year until then.
Your lips to God's ears, or whatever the phrase is. I think I said that last time. I was like, what is that?
Still don't know.
Still don't know. Well, until next time, thank you again for joining us.
Thank you.
And until next time, everyone, have an amazing day, night, week, moment, whatever. Peace out.
Bye.